Hi, I'm John Fitzgerald, and I want to take 15 minutes and teach you about building wealth and real estate. Two things that lots of people talk about, but not many people have done. I've actually done it. And more importantly, I wrote a book about it nearly 20 years ago, and now it's in its 7th edition. And why that's important is because it stood the test of time through GFCs, through everything that's gone up and down. So I think my advice has some value to you as an Australian. Building wealth. The average wage today is around $75,000. If you want to retire on a wage of $75,000, you need around about $1 to $1.5 million. Now that's the shocking truth, and I often say there's only truth in numbers. That's the shocking truth. You might say, oh, I don't want to be a millionaire. I don't want to retire on $75,000. I could retire on $50,000. Fine. What's your number? You know, I'd like Australians to have a number that they're aiming for. And, you know, we polled nearly 5,000 people and they said, well, we want to be comfortable, but we don't want to be wealthy. They feel millionaire was wealthy. But the truth is, if you want to retire on anything around $40,000, $50,000, you're going to need $1 million plus own your own home. So work that number yourself, because it really is important, because it gives you some focus. Focus is a key. You know, we say that you either do things by design or default. That is, you design your future to reach that $1 million, $2 million target, or by default, you end up broke. And guess what? 80–90% of Australians are ending up all but broke. You know, on an income in retirement significantly less than half the wage. I mean, it's just terrible. Only 1% of Australians, 207,000 Australians are millionaires. So it's not even 1%. We have a population of 23, 24 million. So as I go through the 7 steps, the why is the most important. And the why we do things is so that we can be an example to the people around us, our kids, etc., etc., etc. And we can break this stranglehold of our parents and their parents and their parents basically retiring on the pension. Because the government's made it clear they can't afford the pension. The Australian government spends $100 million a day more than it collects in revenue, and it's borrowing that money. It's put its hand up and said, wait on, this can't go on. So we need to do something about it. It really is important. The why is the key, and I wanted to start with the why. But let's talk about how to build wealth. And I want to give you a phrase here because, and say it to you in one sentence. And this is the question that I ask every single person who says that they're building wealth. What strategy, what proven strategy have you got that gives you compound growth? Please write those things down. Ask that question, put it down, put it in your diary. What proven strategy do you have that gives you compound growth? Because when it comes to building wealth, it comes down to just numbers. The only truth in numbers, it's a mathematical formula. And the only way you can take the equity from your house or $100,000 and turn it into $1 million, the only way I know, safely and securely, is compound growth. And that is a summary of 7 steps to wealth. That is the summary of the Custodian program. And we've now got so many clients who started with 1 property up to property number 6, 8, 10 properties, millionaires, multi-millionaires. Why? Because they answer that one question. They have a strategy which gives them compound growth. And it's a proven strategy. That is proven by data and case studies. Now, this is very important, everything I say to you, because it's a very important direction you may go in. And this is the basis of 7 steps. The top of the steps is compound growth. But let's go through the steps and the benefits of compound growth. Let's go through the steps. Step 1, real estate is land. Real estate is land. The buildings that are on top of it, they're just buildings. They come and go. They depreciate. The golden rule of real estate is this: land appreciates, buildings depreciate. So page 1 of 7 Steps to Wealth that I wrote nearly 20 years ago, and what I learned off my mentors who were Jewish billionaires, buy land for capital growth. That's step 1. Really important. When I'm buying property, I want at least 40% land content. Now, you may not know what that means. Fine. At the end, you can book an appointment with one of my team and they can explain to you what is 40% land content, but that is number one. That's really the key. Number two, optimize your income. Cash flow. I got a saying when I was first in this business, cash is like oxygen. If you run out of it, it's over very quickly for you. You should buy property today that after tax costs you nothing. And more important, in the next 1, 2, 3 years, becomes cash flow positive. The only way to do that, optimize your income. So when you sit down with my team, put them through the test on this. How do you optimize your income? And what's the goal? What's the focus on that? Step 3. This is a key. To optimize your income, we need to maximize our tax benefits. Now, the government, I mentioned before, the government's spending $100 million a day more than it makes. What they want is for you to go out and look after yourself in retirement. So, they actually give you a tax break to do it, called negative gearing. That means if you go out and buy property and borrow money, the interest cost can be tax deductible. And the depreciation can be tax deductible. And here's how it works. You buy a house for around $500,000. The land is $220,000. The house might be $280,000, let's say. That house can be depreciated so that, here's how the numbers work without confusing you, after tax, it could cost you $0 a week and you could get a tax deduction of around about $10,000 a year. What? How does it work? Good, ask the question. And you know what? When I go through this with people say, John, why isn't everybody doing this? That's a good question. Why isn't everybody doing this? Incredible. To build wealth, you need 3 things. You need growth. You need income. I've gone through those 2 things. Growth comes from land. You need income. Point 1 on that is optimizing your income. Point 2 is maximizing your tax benefits. And the third thing is you need leverage. Now, this is the key. Finance to build. We've got to go with banks that give us 80, 90% LVRs. Loan value ratio. The biggest mistake I see investors make is they buy an investment property and go with the same bank that's funded their own home. Huge mistake, because the banks cross-collateralize the mortgages and reduce what's called the LVR, the loan value ratio. When I wrote 7 steps, I said, make sure you keep your bank loan outside your investment loan, because the banks do something tricky as well. They don't give you a copy of the bank valuation. You must have a copy of the bank valuation as an investor. So when we say finance to build, there's some rules around that. It's a checklist. And if you sit down with one of my team, they'll go through the checklist and how to optimize your loan value ratio to enable you to not just buy one property now, but as it grows in value, to buy the next one and buy the next one. Because compound growth is actually growth on growth. And I'm going to show you the maths on it at the end. Let's move on. Step 5, aim for affordability. 95% of Australians buy houses under the median house price, at or below the median house price. So when I'm buying properties in the main 4 capitals, which is where I look for, I look to be buying in the lower quartile. Today, the median house price in Sydney is $900,000. Now, when the median was $575,000, we bought 400 houses in Sydney for $450,000. So you can see we've got a discount to the median house price. They're all now worth about $750,000. So all those clients, and let me go through the maths on this, those clients bought those houses for $450,000. Let's say they put in 20% deposit, $90,000. They've made $300,000. What's that? That's a 300+% return on their money in 3 years, 100% per annum. That's how the numbers work, but it works at the lower quartile better and it's easier to finance. So aim for affordability, stay in the lower quartile, and in all the markets we buy property under the median house price. That's an absolute key. Step 6, make time work for you. Don't get caught where things have to happen in a certain period of time. What we're looking to do is to buy that house. As it grows in value, use the growth to buy the second one and buy the third one and buy the fourth one. Now, I'm going to show you this slide, and this will amaze you, because you put those 6 steps together and you get compound growth. And let me show you the point on this. If you buy that first house, and let's say you've used the equity in your property, you buy the first house, as it grows, you don't put any more equity in, you use the growth to buy the second one. And then as it grows, you use the growth to buy the third one. In 10 to 12 years, if they're just growing by 9%, you will have net assets of nearly $1.5 million just with 3 properties. And those 3 properties would put you into the 1% of all Australians. In fact, under 1% of all Australians. That, my friends, is compound growth. And that's what I want you to focus on. Now, I'll show you 6, because we've got lots of clients now who are at 6, 10, 15, 20. 6 is, they're up to $3 million. 10, it's high. Oh no, I don't want that. Just set your goal at least to get you into the millions. So maybe 2 or 3 houses. And let us show you how to get there. And lastly, let me finish with the why. I started in 1991 in 1989, when I was in my 20s, my early 20s. My mentor, Jewish billionaire. John, what difference are you going to make? You know, you're wealthy. I was a millionaire by then. Made my first million by age 23, 10 million by age 30, 40, just up and up and up, because of the formula I'm giving you now, compound growth. What I've given you is a formula, not just for compound growth, but a formula that will empower you. Because I know if you reach 3, 4 houses, you will have a mindset, positive, responsible, proactive. Think of the opposite of that, negative, blame, reactive. And a lot of the coaching I do is on these mindsets. But let me get to the end of it. If you have that mindset, positive, responsible, proactive, you'll create compound growth. But then it's up to you to inspire others. And the best way to inspire others is being a leader in your community, to be all you can be. And I'd say, you know, for the last 20, 30 years, I've been in this business for 30 years. And every Monday morning I go to my school, see the kids, all that sort of thing, the youth at risk school, Tugulawa. That's the highlight of my week. And I'd say that is what defines me from inside. I get no thanks or anything like, and I don't do it for thanks, but I come away from the school feeling, wow, you know, something inside every cell of my body says, yes, yes. I'd like you to have that feeling. But let's start with you taking care of yourself, because there's another great saying, you can't take care of anybody else until you can first take care of yourself. So first of all, work out what you want financially. Secondly, have a proven strategy that gives you compound growth. Let me say it as clearly as that, because lots of people talk, you can make money doing this. No, show me a proven strategy that gives you compound growth. And then go through the 7 steps. It works. Now, we'll happily give you a copy of my book. Sit down with one of my team. They will do an analysis and identify, okay, where you're at and where you want to get to and how compound growth can get you there. Please take it up. And if you do and become a client of Custodian, I'll personally look forward to working with you. Thank you for listening.